The following program was produced by an independent community producer. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the QATV staff or board of directors. QATV, in compliance with FCC regulations, is prohibited from exercising control over the content of independent, member-produced public access programming.
My name is Heather Burns, and on behalf of the United First Parish Social Justice Action Committee, March Forward Quincy, and Standout Quincy for Black Lives, thank you all so much for coming to Good Trouble Lives On, in remembrance of civil rights icon Congressman John Lewis and recognition of his great work on voter rights and equality for all. Coined by Congressman Lewis, Good Trouble is the act of coming together to take peaceful, nonviolent action to challenge injustice. The power of collective nonviolent action resulted in the passage of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and we must maintain that same collective action to fight for voting rights today. Throughout the country this weekend, people are honoring the legacy of Congressman John Lewis and carrying the torch of the civil rights movement by doing what Lewis loved most: organizing, educating, and taking action. John Lewis was an American civil rights leader and U.S. Congressman, widely revered as the conscience of Congress. Born in rural Alabama to sharecroppers, he championed racial equality through nonviolent activism, enduring arrests and beatings as an original Freedom Rider and chairman of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Lewis was a towering figure in the civil rights movement. As one of the Big Six leaders, he spoke at the 1963 March on Washington. In 1965, he led voting rights marchers across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama, where state troopers violently attacked peaceful protesters on a day that became known as Bloody Sunday. This brutality helped galvanize national support for the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Following his activism, Lewis continued to serve the public by directing the Voter Education Project, serving on the Atlanta City Council, and eventually representing Georgia's 5th Congressional District in the U.S. House of Representatives from 1987 until his death. Over his long tenure, he fought relentlessly for voting rights, gun control, and healthcare access. For his lifelong dedication to human rights, Lewis was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2011. He passed away from pancreatic cancer in July of 2020, becoming the first African-American lawmaker to lie in state in the U.S. Capitol Rotunda. To honor this great legacy, today we will be reading some of John Lewis's most impactful quotes, as well as singing in solidarity with the many others across the country who are embodying good trouble. We also have voter registration available and friendly volunteers who are available to assist and answer questions. So to begin this event, I would like to invite Reverend Dr. Sheldon Bennett, Minister Emeritus of United First Parish, to perform the invocation.
First, let me say how much I appreciate the invitation by Reverend Froome to stand out with you here today in her stead, especially on this day when we honor the legacy of John Lewis. Today, like his, our times are troubled too. And like John Lewis, we too, people of conscience, people of goodwill, you and I, we are called now to make our own good trouble. Just to add one little thought to Heather's wonderful introduction, this is sort of a theological thought. John Lewis deeply believed that at the heart of the universe there's a great power, the power of that love that stands against all cruelty and meanness of the world. A love so powerful it refuses to harbor hatred against any person, even those who may inflict violence or oppression. And it is this love that must guide us today in our nonviolent action for human rights and human dignity. In the spirit of this love, I invite you now to join with me for a moment of prayer. Let us pray. Spirit of our lives, God of our faith, love everlasting, we stand out this hour here at this place where so many have stood out for freedom. Give us to honor John Lewis, who showed us what good trouble looks like as he marched out over and over again in the face of ferocious hatred, oppression, even to suffer bodily injury, always with the power of nonviolent love in his heart. Give us also to remember the many others who marched with him and the so many since who organized and marched, who registered voters, petitioned legislators, who bled, some died, to make this nation's founding promise that much closer to fulfillment. Today, at this very hour, when so much they fought for and one is now in peril, may the same power of love be strong in our hearts as we stand out in our time to protect the civil liberties and voting rights they struggled for and won. Give us to do some loving, good trouble for John and for the sake of the true freedom and equality of all. In the name of all that is holy, loving, just, and true, we pray. Amen.
Thank you so much. So we now invite those who are interested in reading a John Lewis quote to please line up over here. We do have quotes available for those, and if you have a special one you'd like to read, that's fine as well.
Hello, everyone. This is from Across That Bridge, a vision for change and the future of America. You are a light. You are the light. Never let anyone, any person, or any force dampen, dim, or diminish your light. Study the path of others to make your way easier and more abundant. Lean towards the whispers of your own heart. Discover the universal truth and follow its dictates. Release the need to hate, to harbor division, and the enticement of revenge. Release all bitterness, hold only love, only peace in your heart, knowing that the battle of good to overcome evil is already won. Choose confrontation wisely, but when it is your time, don't be afraid to stand up, and speak out against injustice. And if you follow your truth down the road to peace and the affirmation of love, if you shine like a beacon for all to see, then the poetry of all the great dreamers and philosophers is yours to manifest in a nation, a world community, and a beloved community that is finally in peace with itself.
I believe in the freedom of speech, but also believe that we have an obligation to condemn speech that is racist, bigoted, anti-Semitic, and hateful. Just read a couple here. When you see something that's not right, not fair, not just, you have to speak up. You have to do something. You have to do something. A democracy cannot thrive where power remains unchecked and justice is reserved for a select few. Ignoring these cries and failing to respond to this movement is simply not an option. For peace cannot exist where justice is not served. That is what we believe in, what we're all about, a mass movement, an irresistible movement of the masses. Not a handful of lawyers in a closed courtroom, but hundreds, thousands of everyday people, disciplined, peaceful people, taking their cause and their beliefs to the street.
Take a long, hard look down the road you will have to travel once you have made a commitment to work for change. Know that this transformation will not happen right away. Change often takes time. It rarely happens all at once. In the movement, we didn't know how history would play itself out. When we were getting arrested and waiting in jail or standing in unmovable lines on the courthouse step, we didn't know what would happen, but we knew it had. Ours is not the struggle of one day, 1 week, or 1 year. Ours is not the struggle of one judicial appointment or presidential term. Ours is a struggle of a lifetime, or maybe even many lifetimes. And each one of us in every generation must do our part.
Never, ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble. Second reading is we are one people, one family, the human family.
That, I think, if people understood how difficult it was for people in fight for the Voting Rights Act to be passed, they would understand how important it is today. That is what we believed in, what we were all about, a mass movement, an irresistible movement of the masses. Not a handful of lawyers in a closed courtroom, but hundreds, thousands of everyday people, disciplined, peaceful people, taking their cause and belief to the streets. My dear friends, your vote is precious, almost sacred. It is the most powerful, nonviolent tool we have to create a more perfect union. I appeal to all of you to get into this great revolution that is sweeping the nation. Get in and stay in the streets of every city, every village and hamlet of this nation until true freedom comes, until the revolution of 76 is complete.
I loved going to the library. It was the first time I ever saw Black newspapers and magazines like Jet, Ebony, the Baltimore Afro-American, or the Chicago Defender, and I'll never forget my librarian. And the second quote, in protest facing police dogs and fire hoses, we knew without a doubt that someone who was greater than us all would make a way out of no way and protect the defenders of the truth.
This is a quote from the book Walking with the Wind, a memoir of the movement by John Lewis with Michael Dorso. By stepping outside our own small, familiar circles and reaching out, touching and connecting with people and lives that are different than ours and that are in need, we may begin filling the empty place in our souls, both collectively and individually. I think we'll take a moment to invite out Chris Jackson, who's going to lead us in a song.
Hello? I'm Chris Jackson. Are you ready to sing a song with me? Let's sing loud enough so they can hear us down in Washington. I think we can do it. This is a song called Rise Up, and it's a song designed for this type of situation. It's a call and response. So it means I sing something, and then you sing the exact same thing after I sing it. And it comes from It was from the Poor People's Campaign in Washington. And I've seen some videos of them singing it down there, and I think we can do better than they do. So the way it works is there's a chorus. It's only 2 lines long. And then when the song gets going, there's verses that are the same tune, also 2 lines, and then we do verse, chorus, verse, chorus. I'm going to teach you the chorus, so that's familiar. But then when we do the verses, you just have to sing exactly what I sing. And the words are pretty simple, so I think you can do it. So let me teach you the chorus first. There's 2 lines. The first one is, rise up, we're gonna rise up. Can you sing that with me? Rise up, we're gonna rise up. Good. Second line, rise up, we're gonna rise up. Rise up, we're gonna rise up. So let's try both lines together. Rise up, we're gonna rise up. Rise up, we're gonna rise up. Good. Okay, so I'm going to sing the chorus 1 line at a time. I sing it first, then you sing it. Then we're going to move right into the verses. And just do your best. If you get lost, the chorus is coming right next, so that'll allow you to get back on track. All right, so let's start. Rise, first, I'm first, then you follow. Rise up, we're gonna rise up. 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 We ain't gonna let nobody turn us around. Because the people united will stand our ground. Rise up, we're gonna rise up. 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 Every human deserves to be safe. In the land of the free and the home of the brave. In the land of the free and the home of the brave. Rise up, we're gonna rise up. 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 It's not enough to barely survive. We believe in a world where everybody can thrive. Rise up, we're gonna rise up. 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 Everyone should have their say. Nobody's gonna take our vote away. Nobody's gonna take our vote away. Rise up, we're gonna rise up. 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 They can't stop us, we're moving ahead. They can't stop us, we're moving ahead. And we're making good trouble, just like John Lewis said. And we're making good trouble, just like John Lewis said. Rise up, we're gonna rise up. 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 Totally, great. Thank you.
Thank you, that was awesome. We'll read some more quotes, and I'll start by reading a couple, and then maybe if someone else wants to come up. So, destruction doesn't work. Rioting isn't a movement. We must be constructive and not destructive. Chaos is sowing more division and discord. The next. Soul force is the ability to counter the forces of injustice with fearlessness. Knowing that your soul is connected to the greatest force in the universe, threats, violence, and aggression are simply tools that are used to make us doubt our capacity to overcome.
I'm proud to say that I got to meet John Lewis. He did a book time at the Kennedy Library a few years ago. It was great. We could not waste time harboring bitterness or resentment. We knew that our focus had to be on what we hoped to create, not the indignities we were pressing to leave behind. I have seen this restlessness among the people before. It was in another millennium, another decade, and at another time in our history, but it pushed through America like a storm. In 10 short years, there was a tempest that transformed what the American Revolution did not address, what the Constitution and the Bill of Rights were afraid to confront, what the Civil War could not unravel, what Reconstruction tried to mediate, and Jim Crow did its best to retrench. This mighty wind made a fundamental shift in the moral character of our nation that has reached every sector of our society. And this history lends us one very powerful reminder today. Nothing can stop the power of a committed and determined people to make a difference in our society.
Yes, I have an antique.
Go close.
I have an op-ed page that John Lewis sent to the New York Times to be written after he died. And this is an excerpt from that. Though I may not be here with you, I urge you to answer the highest calling of your heart and stand up for what you truly believe. In my life, I have done all I can to demonstrate the way of peace, the way of love and nonviolence in the more excellent way. Now it is your turn to let freedom ring. When historians pick up their pens to write the story of the 21st century, let them say it was your generation who laid down the heavy burdens of hate at last, and that peace finally triumphed over violence, aggression, and war. So I say to you, walk with the wind, brothers and sisters, and let the spirit of peace and the power of everlasting love be your guide.
Thanks so much, Catherine. She's 89 years young, so give her a round of applause. She's been really fighting the good fight for many years. I have had the honor and privilege of walking with John Lewis and Martin Luther King in D.C. in '63, and we organized the march here in '65 in Boston. Where both of them were there, and we were proud citizens to be able to fight the good civil rights fight. And we are back today fighting the same right, and we're defending democracy, we're defending justice. And we need everybody on board, particularly young people, please. We're all at the age that we're aging out. But we desperately need young people to stand up and speak out loudly and clearly. And again, thank you everybody for being here. I know other people would like to come up and speak, so please do.
I need to grow taller, or I'm 81.
And this is my Abigail Adams look today. Use the words of the movement to pace yourself. We used to say that ours is not the struggle of one day, 1 week, or 1 year. Ours is not the struggle of one judicial appointment or presidential term. Ours is the struggle of a lifetime, or maybe even many lifetimes, and each one of us in every generation must do our part. And if we believe in the change we seek, then it is easy to commit to doing all we can, because the responsibility is ours alone to build a better society and a more peaceful world. Considering that we're leaving it to others. Thank you.
As citizens, we knew we had ceded some of our individual rights to society in order to live together as a community. But we did not believe this social contract included support for an immoral system. Since the people invested government with this authority, we understood that we had to obey the law. But when law became suppressive and tyrannical, when human law violated divine principles, we felt it was not only our right, but our duty to disobey. As Henry Thoreau strongly believed, to comply with an unjust system is to accept abuse. It is not the role of the citizen to follow the government down a path that violates his or her own conscience.
Okay, I think we're going to invite up David Downs, who is also going to lead us in a song.
Time for round two. So it's so inspiring to see all of you here today. And thinking this morning about the fight for voting rights, it occurred to me that to be in that fight week after week, month after month, year after year, it's all about commitment and tenacity. And I have a song for us that is just about that. So this song is based on an African American spiritual called I Shall Not Be Moved. And this arrangement comes to us from the Bee Vocal Protest Choir in Boston. And this song is called We Shall Not Be Moved. So I'm going to ask you to hear what I say and repeat back to me. We shall not be moved. Super. One more time. We shall not be moved. Excellent. All right, so you now know most of the words to the song. Let's go through the lyrics. There's 4 lines. First line, I will say it, ask you to repeat. First line, we shall not be moved. Beautiful. Second line, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Pay attention to the third line, it's different. Just like a tree that's standing by the water, we shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's standing by the water, we shall not be moved. Fourth and final line, we shall not be moved. I'm going to run through it together and then ask you to repeat. So the whole thing together is, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like a tree standing by the water, we shall not be moved. Let's do it all together. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's standing by the water, we shall not be moved. Nailing it. All right, so now we're going to add some tunes to that, and I'm going to pluck that out of the air. Let's see. First line goes like this. We shall not be moved. Repeat. We shall not be moved. Second line. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Third line. Just like a tree that's standing by the water. Just like a tree that's standing by the water. Last line. We shall not be moved. Perfect. I'm going to run through it all together so you get the flow, and then we're going to get started. So all together, it's we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be moved. Let's do it all together and then we'll keep going. Ready? 1, 2, ready, sing. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be, keep on going. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be, sing to the person next to you. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be, do a little march. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be, one more time. We shall not be, sing out. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be moved. Beautiful.
I'm gonna have to put that down a lot. All right, I'm gonna read one. It takes courage to admit that we participate in killing, violence, and hate around the world. And once you face the truth, it is difficult to retreat back into a state of unconsciousness. Becoming aware of the truth requires action, and that is when the struggle begins.
I've just got a quick one, and it's freedom is not a state, it is an act. Freedom is the continuous action we all must take, and each generation must do its part to create an even more fair, more just society.
It's a shame he's not here, because he had an awful lot of energy through an awful lot of tough times. And I think that my first recollection of John Lewis was, well, I didn't really know who he was, but I heard him on TV, and I was pretty little, and we didn't have a lot of TV time, so it must have been pretty important if my folks let me watch it. And that was a long, long, long time ago. But I got to know who he was more and more, and followed a lot of the same paths, probably ran into some of the same people. And one of the people that walked with me through most of this was my mom, who was a very strong advocate for democracy. 15 years ago, she passed away tomorrow. And I'm sure she's rolling in her grave looking at what's happening here now. But we don't have a democracy in this country if we don't show up. And we don't have a democracy in this country if we show up and we aren't allowed to vote. And we don't have a democracy in this country unless we work together as the people of this country. So it's worth remembering her and him and the many, many people who were here before us that aren't here today to give us the energy to move forward. I have the same quote that's been probably said several times now, but I guess it's worth reading again if I can get through it. Though I may not be here with you, I urge you to answer the highest calling of your heart and stand up for what you truly believe. Now is your turn to let freedom ring. When historians pick up their pens and write the story of the 21st century, let them say that it was your generation who laid down the heavy burdens of hate at last, and peace finally triumphed over violence, aggression, and war. I think it may be the next generation, but we're going to keep on trying while we're here. So I say to you, walk with wind, brothers and sisters, and let the spirit of peace and power of everlasting love be your guide.
So I'm going to keep filling in until more people show up, so come on up. I gave a little blood on that bridge in Selma, Alabama, for the right to vote. I am not going to stand by and let the Supreme Court or the Congress take it away from us.
This is from John Lewis, Across the Bridge, That Bridge, Life Lessons and a Vision for Change. We no longer dwell in that fairy dream. We were shaken to realism by the harshness of what we witnessed in the last few years, the vilification of President Obama, a drive to wreck his legacy and undo the progress that we have made as a nation in the last 100 years, a disdain for the sick and the poor, militarization of the police, and weaponizing of government not to serve as an advocate, but as an agent of oppression and compliance. Nothing can stop the power of a committed and determined people to make a difference in our society. Why? Because human beings are the most divine link to the divine on this planet. Governments and corporations do not live. They have no power, no capacity in and of themselves. They are given life and derive all of their authority from their ability to assist, benefit, and transform the lives of the people they touch. All authority emanates from the consent of the governed and the satisfaction of the customer. So each of us has a moral obligation to stand up, and speak out.
What is the purpose of a nation if not to empower human beings to live better together than they could individually? When government fails to meet the basic needs of humanity for food, shelter, clothing, and even more important, the room to grow and evolve, the poor will begin to rely on one another to pool their resources and rise above the artificial limitations of tradition or law. Each of us has something significant to contribute to society, be it physical, material, intellectual, emotional, or spiritual.
It takes courage to admit that we participate in killing, violence, and hate around the world. And once you face the truth, it is difficult to retreat back into a state of unconsciousness. Becoming aware of the truth requires action, and that is when the struggle begins.
Sometimes you have to not just dream about what you could be. You get out and push and you pull and you preach.
Because I long ago decided that I wasn't going to be bound by the mental shackles of hate, anger, and discontent. Forgiveness is medicine for the mind, balm for the body, and healing for the heart.
There is still much work to do. One movement will never offer all the growth humanity needs to experience. To expect so is to build your hopes on a puff of smoke, on a whispered breath. It is to anticipate an illusion.
The vote is precious. It is almost sacred. It is the most powerful, non-violent tool we have in democracy.
Okay, is there anyone else who wants to share? No? Okay. Yep, then I think we'll probably let's bring this to a close. So I'm going to say on behalf of United First Parish Social Justice Action Committee, March Forward Quincy, and Standout Quincy for Black Lives, thank you all so much for coming and making good trouble today. In closing, let us remember the immortal words of John Lewis. Every generation leaves behind a legacy. What that legacy will be is determined by the people of that generation. What legacy do you want to leave behind? Thank you all.